Our top story, Pakistan faces a period of uncertainty with election results showing no clear majority and two opposing political leaders, Nawaz Sharif and Imran Khan, claiming to form the government. Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf chairman Gohar Ali Khan on Saturday claimed that the president would invite his party to form the government as they had gotten a majority in the National Assembly. Gohar said their independent candidates were in contact with them, while Nawaz and his brother Shehbaz Sharif's party, the PMLN, and Bilawal Bhutto Zardari's Pakistan People's Party have agreed to form a coalition government in the centre and Punjab. Amid the delay in the publication of election results, PTI has given for a nationwide peaceful protest on Sunday. The demonstrators claim that the election result delay is allowing authorities to rig the vote counting. And Myanmar's junta declared mandatory military service for all young men and women in the country on Saturday. According to an official statement, all men aged 18 to 35 and women aged 18 to 27 must serve for up to 2 years, while specialists like doctors aged up to 45 must serve for 3 years. The service can be extended to a total of 5 years in the ongoing state of emergency. The Southeast Asian nation has been in turmoil since the military seized power from an elected government in a 2021 coup. The decision comes at a time when the Myanmar junta struggles to contain armed rebel forces fighting for greater autonomy in various parts of the country. And amid deteriorating security situation in Myanmar, India on Thursday suspended the free movement regime along the Myanmar border with immediate effect. The free movement regime had allowed citizens from either nation to cross the border and travel up to 16 kilometers into the other's territory without documents like passport or visa. In January this year, India's Home Minister Amit Shah had said that the government will secure the India-Myanmar border with barbed fencing. India's Ministry of External Affairs has advised its citizens in Myanmar's Rakhine state to leave immediately. Now, Israeli forces have discovered a tunnel network hundreds of meters long and running partly under United Nations Relief and Work Agency's Gaza's headquarters. Calling it new evidence of Hamas exploitation of the main relief agency for Palestinians, the military said they found Hamas complex with rows of computer servers that served as an important communication center and intelligence hub for the Islamist terrorist group. It added that the compound appears to have run on electricity drawn from the UN's power supply. Israel thus says the agency is perforated by Hamas and must be replaced. All right, now updates related to Russia-Ukraine conflict. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky announced 5 senior military appointments on Saturday, filling out a rebooted team after he named Colonel General Alexander Syrsky this week as the new Armed Forces Chief. In his nightly video address, Zelensky said he spent the day meeting his military leadership and government, and that experienced combat commanders of this war would be taking on new duties. Zelensky said he had also approved nominations of 3 brigadier generals as deputies of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. In Ukraine, several regions came under drone threat attack, but country's air defense systems were repelling the Russian air attack on Kiev. Ukraine's air defense systems destroyed 40 out of 45 Russia-launched drones overnight. Russia also bombarded Kharkiv city of Ukraine, killing 7 people. The attack damaged infrastructure and residential houses. A Ukrainian couple and their 3 small children were killed when a Russian drone attack on the northeastern city of Kharkiv hit an oil depot. An elderly couple living in the same street were also killed in the attack that injured 57 people and razed 15 homes. The Ukrainian Air Force said air defense and mobile groups of drone hunters shot down 23 out of 31 Russian-launched drones. Firefighters and rescuers worked through the night to extinguish fires and clear the debris. Moving on to our next story now, former President Donald Trump accused President Joe Biden of lacking the mental capacity to be president, following a report that suggested Biden was suffering memory lapses. The mental ability and age of the United States presidential candidates took center stage on the campaign trail on Saturday. The matter was once again brought to the forefront after Special Counsel Robert Hur, a former U.S. attorney during Trump's administration, described Biden as a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory who was not able to recall to investigators when his son, Boy Biden, died. Trump, at a rally in Conway, South Carolina, said Hur's report showed Biden is not fit to serve as a commander-in-chief. Meanwhile, Biden denied Hur's allegations about his memory, saying in a White House appearance, "My memory's fine."
He was a vice president, not covered, and he was a senator. But this is yet more proof that we have a weaponized two-tier system of justice in this country. Crooked Joe got off scot-free. Now, I don't know if you call it scot-free. They said he was a mental basket case. Okay, so I wouldn't say it's totally scot-free. In fact, I think maybe if I had my choice, I'd take the other. I'd go through a little process, but that's better than what happened. But they said he was a disaster mentally, and he willfully stole gigantic numbers of classified documents, willful. But because of his condition mentally, is this guy going to make it to the starting gate, seriously?
Now, Taiwan's defense ministry has detected 8 Chinese balloons crossing the Taiwan Strait in the last 24 hours. According to a statement on Sunday, 5 of the balloons flew across Taiwan. This is the second day in a row that a large number of balloons has been reported. Taiwan has raised alarm about the balloons since December last year, calling them a threat to aviation safety and an attempt at psychological warfare. The potential for China to use balloons for spying became a global issue last February when the United States shot down what it said was a Chinese surveillance balloon. China said that the balloon was a civilian craft that had accidentally drifted astray. And thousands of people fleeing armed clashes in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo are seeking shelter inside a hospital that is overwhelmed by the number of patients and the displaced. The international medical charity Doctors Without Borders say at least 2,500 people, including children, are staying at the Maweso Hospital in the conflict-torn region. DD India's Chris Ochmaringa has more from Kinshasa.
Fighting between the M23 rebels and Congolese government forces has intensified in the province of North Kivu since last month. Aid agencies say 150,000 people have been forced to flee their homes. At least 2,500 of them, including children whose parents have been killed, are sheltering in Maweso Hospital. The facility is run by the international medical charity Doctors Without Borders. Authorities there say the hospital is overcrowded with war-wounded patients and people seeking refuge. They are in dire need of food and other basic necessities. The medical charity has urged all parties to the conflict to ensure the safety of patients, medical staff and civilians. The armed conflict in eastern DRC has worsened the humanitarian crisis. On Saturday, protesters in the DRC capital Kinshasa burnt tires near the U.S. embassy and set 2 UN vehicles on fire to denounce the ongoing conflict. They accused the U.S. government and the UN peacekeepers of siding with the M23 rebels who have captured swathes of territory in North Kivu province. The conflict has also raised tensions between the DRC and Rwanda. Both countries accuse each other of supporting rebels seeking to destabilize their governments. Chris Ochamringa in Kinshasa for DD India.
And internet connectivity was shut down in Sudan amid ongoing clashes between the Sudanese army and the paramilitary rapid support forces, RSF, that have left thousands killed and millions displaced in 10 months of conflict. Near total telecoms blackout has limited communication in the country and prevented the Sudanese people from seeking safe zones and accessing main services. Naba Mohiddin has more from Port Sudan in Sudan.
It's been almost a week now since telecommunications became sporadic and then went in a total blackout in Sudan. It started with partial blackout only in conflict zones like Khartoum State, Al Jazeera state in central Sudan and Darfur states. But now it covers 100% of Sudan territory, and the blackout is total, no phone signals, no internet, and no telecommunications at all. The reason behind this blackout remains conflicted, but some security analysts believe that RSF troops are behind this recent blackout as they sabotage main services and cables in Khartoum after threatened employees and telecommunications companies, the three telecommunications companies, to stop the service from Port Sudan and from River Nile State. It's also predicted that RSF is trying to prepare for an attack, and also they ask for a restoration of internet in Niala city and in some parts of Darfur where blackout was for almost 5 months there. The situation is chaotic and messy, and people are suffering because of the blackout. There is stuck travelers, there is stuck patients who cannot gain or obtain any health services. Bank systems are totally not operating right now, and all of the governmental institutions are not operating. So millions of people are suffering because of the recent blackout, and there is no news that the telecommunications will be restored anytime soon. Naba Muhyiddin, reporting for DD India from Port Sudan in Sudan.
Now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Residents and tourists in Mexico City's Chinatown welcomed the Lunar New Year on Saturday with a colorful parade. Traditional dancing lions and dragons painted the city red for the Year of Dragon celebrations. In Bolivia, more than 30,000 dancers and 16,000 musicians in elaborate costumes performed in a parade during celebrations of the annual Oruro Carnival in the historic mining town of Oruro on Saturday. The carnival has its origins in the ancient festival of its celebrated by the indigenous Uru people. Locals and tourists in costumes danced to samba music in Rio de Janeiro's Leme Beach on Saturday during the second day of colorful carnival festivities. The carnival street parties are taking place despite concerns over a surge in mosquito-borne dengue fever in Brazil. All right, we'll slip into a very short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India Live. President of India Draupadi Murmu took part in the change of guard ceremony at the President House in Delhi. And India's UPI will be launched in Sri Lanka on 12th February. And three-day Kalinga Literary Festival is underway in Indian state of Odisha.
Our oceans, our water, our food, our fields. There is so much around us that is polluted. So almost all of us actively contribute to polluting our planet. The textile industry across the world is water intensive, and that is a major problem.
Conventional dyeing and printing is water intensive.
The most dangerous type of waste in the world, I'd certainly think of nuclear waste. These power plants also generate radioactive waste.
That we need to take care of the wastes, not to leave them to the future generations.
A single one to a certain extent for sure, but when it's the millions of these across the globe everywhere, then they become very dangerous for the planet. Recycling, management and segregation is a major problem.
We should take these small measures to keep this earth and environment clean and healthy.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. The President of India witnessed the changeover of Ceremonial Army Guard Battalion at the Rashtrapati Bhavan in New Delhi today. The ceremony was held at the forecourt of the Rashtrapati Bhavan. The 1st Battalion of the 5th Gorkha Rifles of the Indian Army took over the guard from the 6th Battalion of the Sikh Regiment. The change of guard was formalized with the formal golden key exchange between the commanding officers of the respective regiments. The President is the Supreme Commander of the Indian Armed Forces.
A graduate of the Technical Staff course at the Military Institute of Technology, Pune, Colonel Dhukia has served.
An Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to blow the bugle for the general elections for BJP from tribal-dominated Jhabua in Madhya Pradesh on Sunday. The Prime Minister will inaugurate or lay foundation stones of development projects worth Rs 7,300 crore. This will be Prime Minister Modi's first visit to the state this year, coming ahead of the Lok Sabha elections. Among the states, Madhya Pradesh has the highest 6 Lok Sabha seats reserved for tribals. And today is the 200th birth anniversary of Swami Dayanand Saraswati Ji, the Indian philosopher, social leader and founder. All right, we'll get back to this story. Moving on to our next story now, Russian ambassador to India, Denis Alipov, has called for urgent reforms in the United Nations and its agencies while making a strong case for the inclusion of India as a permanent member of the UN Security Council. In an interview with the news agency, the Russian envoy said India, as a permanent member of the Security Council, could make a significant contribution to promoting balance as well as an agenda focused on the interest of the world's majority, primarily the countries of the Global South. The Russian envoy added that G20 presidency of India was also a clear confirmation of high professionalism in multilateral diplomacy and the ability to find consensus amid growing geopolitical tensions. On growing trade ties and economic and bilateral relations with India, the Russian envoy said the trade and economic cooperation between two countries has reached an unprecedented level. India's UPI will be launched in Sri Lanka on 12 February. The interface will be linked to Lanka QR. As per media reports, Sri Lanka's Foreign Minister Ali Sabri said that the leaders of both countries will connect online for the launch event. UPI, or Unified Payment Interface, is an instant real-time payment system developed by National Payments Corporation of India. The interface facilitates interbank, peer-to-peer and person-to-merchant transactions. Now let's take a look at other stories making news today. In the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh, the members of the State Assembly and the Legislative Council are going on a visit to Ayodhya Ram Janmabhoomi. The members are going to take blessings of Lord Ram. Earlier, the state's Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath invited the members to visit the Ram Janmabhoomi temple in Ayodhya. The musical instruments of the tribal groups have been displayed in the special event Mahasamabesh in the Indian state of Odisha. The event has been organized to preserve the dance, music and environment of the tribal community. The event also applauds the efforts and unique interventions to preserve tribal culture and to maintain their identity. The 4-day-long Carnival Festival began in Indian state of Goa on Saturday. The state's Chief Minister Pramod Sawant flagged off the Carnival float parade in Panji on the banks of Mandovi River. This year, Indian Navy has also participated in the carnival. Thousands of people thronged the city lanes to witness this annual event. The 3-day Kalinga Literary Festival is underway in Indian state of Odisha. The event aimed at preserving and propagating India's literary legacy. The festival unfolds a variety of sessions in which prominent writers, poets and journalists of India engaged in discussions on topics like literature, media and nationalism. Sports now. Will start with cricket. India and Australia will square off for the ICC Under-19 Cricket World Cup trophy on Sunday. With both teams entering the final with unblemished records, the stage is set for a clash of titans, showcasing the finest young talents the cricketing world has to offer. All right, we'll go across to DD India's Suchitra now. She is joining us live. Suchitra, big day today. India meet Australia in a grand finale for the third time since June 2023. All right, we'll go to Suchitra again. India will square off against Australia in the ICC Under-19 Cricket World Cup final. India had defeated South Africa in the semi-finals, while Australia had defeated Pakistan in the semi-finals. So the good thing is that India is doing well, and they did well in the semi-finals also. And before that, they defeated Nepal, and both teams, they have not lost a single game in the entire tournament. The match will start at 1:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So big day today. So if India manage to win this World Cup, it will be another feather in the cap of the boys in blue, because they have been doing exceptionally well. Suchitra is joining us again. Suchitra, big day today. India meet Australia in a grand finale for the third time since June 2023. India will be gunning for their 6th title today. Big day today.
Yes, Abhishek, it's a feeling of deja vu, we can say. ICC World Test Championship final, then the senior 50-over final, and now the Under-19 World Cup final. It's India versus Australia once again, and we should just hope that, you know, the way our senior team performed, they were the clear favorites. They did not lose any match, and then in the grand finale, Australia came out top. So we just hope that the Indian Under-19 team, they, you know, improve the performance. We have already lost 2 finals to Australia, so we should be lucky this time. This team, the Under-19 team, should win this World Cup against Australia, and we know how they have performed, and we know how the captain, he seems to be the next Captain Cool, the way he has performed, the way he has proved to be the savior in the semi-final. Yeah. We just hope that if they can play with the same temperament, they will go on to win this World Cup.
Sujitra, also, like you mentioned, India have won their last 6 meetings against Australia at the Under-19 World Cup, if I clearly remember, including twice at the finals. Records are in India's favour, but yes, they will have to play good cricket.
Yes, we have won the last 6 meetings, and in fact, the last 2 finals against Australia, we defeated them in the finals. The last time one in the captaincy of Unmukt Chand, and the second time in the captaincy of Manjot Kalra. And we just hope that Uday Saharan follow the footsteps of Unmukt Chand and Manjot Kalra and go on to win this World Cup final against Australia. But yes, the records are records. They are just on the paper. If we look at the 50-over senior men's World Cup final that was played in Ahmedabad, on paper, Indian team was the favourites, but on that particular day, the best teams win, the team that performs on that particular day. So we cannot just rely on the records. This team will have to perform on the ground if they have to win this World Cup final. They have the caliber, they have the temperament, but they will have to perform one more time, last time, if they want to become the world champions.
Right, so Chitra, last question before we leave you. Both semi-finals were very close. India versus South Africa and Australia versus Pakistan also. And both teams will be confident after winning those matches, semi-finals.
Yes, it always helps if you are going in the final after playing a high pressure match. If we talk about India, you know, they opted to field for the first time, and that was like quite a surprise, and maybe they wanted to test themselves, and they were in trouble at one point of time, but their captain Uday Saharan and Sachin Das, they played the saviors, and the same thing happened with Australia. At one point, it was looking that, you know, Pakistan will defeat them, but it was a very exciting match. Both the semi-finals were very exciting, so we should just hope that the final is equally exciting, because generally we see there are so many exciting matches in a tournament, but the final, it just you know, ends up being one-sided, because one of the team, they crumble under the pressure. So we just hope that both these teams, they played superbly in the semi-finals. They, you know, maintained their temperament, they maintained their cool, and we just want to see an exciting final. And of course, we want to see India win, because we don't want Australia to score a hat-trick of World Cup titles win against India.
Right, Suchitra, exciting and intriguing match is on the cards. We'll leave it at that. Thank you for the time being. We'll keep taking updates from you. Well, that's all for this edition of DT India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly Twitter and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DT India. I'm Abhishek.